Welcome back to the channel, Bookworms and Constant Readers. Today is all about Victor Hugo's Les Miserables, or Les Mis for short. As you can see, just over halfway. This is all about part 3. Part 3, I believe, is titled just Marius. Yes. This was one of the longest books yet. It took a while to read. There are some dry parts, but it's not boring. So, like, I will tell you if something is boring, or if something is just dry and slow going. And there's parts of this that are slow going. That's also another reason why it took so long to read this part of the book. Excuse me. Not going to go over the cover. We did that in the first video. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. So you get this cool cover. You get the, I don't know if you can see that on camera. You get the deckled edges. You get the French flaps, front and back. Very cool artwork. It's all of the major characters in the story. And there's a lot of imagery in the story. The ribbon, the teeth. So let's get into it. I will keep this spoiler-free in case you've never read it. So this entire book is about one person, Marius Pontmercy. Marius Pontmercy lives with his aristocratic grandparents. They're very far, the monarchy, and they think the revolution is wrong, and his whole life he's been told that his father abandoned him, and when he's I think 17 or 18. He gets a letter that his father's sick and his father would like to see him. His grandparents are totally against it, but he goes anyway. And he learns that his father served in the French army under Napoleon, and he fought at the Battle of Waterloo. And that the villains of the story, the Trinitaires, they make a comeback, and they actually saved his father's life. And his father basically tells Marius, you need to find these people and you need to, become their servant and repay them for saving my life. And he starts doing a lot of research into his father, and he learns that Napoleon made his father a baron, and his baron has his father, who is now Baron Pontmercy, passes that title on to him, so he starts using this title. Him and his grandparents, they get into this huge fight, and Marius leaves and refuses to take any financial assistance from his grandparents. They send him money every month, which he desperately needs, and he sends it back. And he goes through some crap. He befriends this person, Conifrac, I think is how you say their name. And he introduces Marius to, I think it's the Friends of the ABC, and they're like a revolutionary group. Um, and he is kind of leery joining them because he doesn't want to get in any trouble. He's going to school and all this and that, and he remains friends with all of them, but he distances himself from this group. He starts going on walks in this park, and he lays eyes on, for the first time, Cosette. And this dude, like, falls head over heels, like, in love with her. Um, it's kind of creepy, like, the stuff that he does. He starts going to the park every day just to see her. He follows her and Jean Valjean back to where they live, and he asks the doorman about Cosette. He hides across the street and watches their apartment until they go to bed, and then he goes home. And in the meantime, Jean Valjean has gotten word that he's doing this, and he thinks that this kid might be a spy for Police Inspector Javert. And so they move. And this, like, almost kills Marius. Like, he's lost. Like, he doesn't care about eating. He doesn't care about how he looks. Like, he's just basically going through the motions every day of life. And he ends up living next to this horrible family. And he sees Cosette and Jean Valjean go into these people's apartment. And of course, he's just like, oh my God, she's back. But he soon learns who his neighbors really are and what their intentions are. But he has no way to warn Cosette. And he's not really sure who the man is with her. Like one time, he found a handkerchief and he thought that Cosette had dropped it, and he's like smelling this thing, and he's like rubbing it against his face, and it says, I think it says Ursula on it, or it has a U, or I forget how it goes down, but now he thinks he knows her name. It turns out this handkerchief is Jean Valjean's, not hers. But yeah, he is just like crazy in love with Cosette. And then you find out that the neighbors are a villain from the past, and they recognize Jean Valjean and Cosette, and they plot their revenge. And Marius hears all this, and he goes to the police inspector and tells him, what is going down and everything, and he needs his help. And you find out that the local police inspector is none other than Javert, who is still looking for Jean Valjean. So he has basically led the predator to the prey and put Jean Valjean and Cosette in double danger with these horrible people. And I'm not going to tell you who they are because it'll kind of ruin the surprise. And Javert. And the ending it's such a climactic ending, and this is the beauty of this book. Victor Hugo, he likes to layer his stories, and he likes to build his stories up. And there's a lot of times, like when you start this book, you think like, what about, Cosette? What's going on? Where's Jean Valjean? Where's Javert? And none of them are mentioned until like towards the end of this book. So you're reading hundreds and hundreds of pages about this one singular character, and he keeps building on this character and building on this character. And at first, you don't know if you like this kid, if you hate this kid, if he's, confused. But as those layers get built, you start to realize, like, oh my God, I see where this is going. And you can't wait to find out, like, what is going to happen next. And it takes Victor Hugo building these layers and setting everything up for this, climactic ending to this part of the story. And he weaves his story in and out, and it intertwines, and everything, you're wondering, like, it's all unraveled and crazy, and you're like, what does this have to do with anything? But it's like, as you keep reading, everything starts coming together, and everything starts fitting together, and you're like, oh, I remember that from before. And it's you have so many of these, like, oh my God moments. And these surprise moments, these fantastical, like, endings. And then he, like, instead of keeping that momentum going into, like, the next book, everything kind of, like, bottoms out. And it's like you kind of start over almost. And then you're reading and you're like, okay, I don't understand this. What did this have to do? Like, what happened? Keep the story going. But he doesn't do that. It is some of the most amazing story writing I've ever read. I'm totally starting to get why this is considered the greatest novel ever written. If you have not read Les Mis by Victor Hugo, yes, it is a huge book, but give it a chance. This book is amazing. It was written in the 1860s, and there's stuff in this book that is still relevant today. There's stuff that still goes on in our society today that went on back then. It's like nothing has changed. And his writing is totally amazing. Don't be intimidated by the size. Definitely get one that isn't annotated. Read the whole story the way it was in the 1860s. And then your second time through, get an annotated copy that takes all of his stuff that doesn't pertain to the story and read it that way. It's an amazing book. I cannot recommend it enough. I tell everybody, read this book. It is awesome. I will hopefully finish part 4 soon. There's only 2 parts left, and the book is over. And it seems like, talking to other people, there's a lot to go. So I'm curious, like, how he's going to wrap all this up, because he loves to drag out a story and then bring it together and give you those great climactic moments. And then it's like he tears it all apart and slowly starts putting it back together again to bring you another one of those climactic moments. This has happened, I don't know how many times in this book, but it's an amazing book. So far, 5 out of 5. Every book has been a 5 out of 5. That's all I got for you in this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you read Les Mis by Victor Hugo. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. I need subscribers. Hit the bell so you know when new videos come out. I usually put videos out. My goal is this year every 2 weeks, Saturday at 12 a.m. I am recording this video on April 5th, so you will probably get it end of April, like first week of May. I'm ahead on videos, so what you're watching was recorded a while ago. Till next time, read more books.